Good morning, brothers and sisters. Thank God for another day, of course. Thank you very sincerely for your interest in my life work. I love you all. Thank you for learning and respecting the English language, allowing me to share my insights with a broader spectrum of the planet. If you have been following my postings, you should have enough briefing to understand everything that I'm going to say in this video. And if you need more explanation, I encourage you to view some of the health chats that I've posted to my YouTube channel. I am not an actor. I'm a real human being that has really done this health work. And I'm trying to get my insights out to the children. So thank you again for your interest in developing a healthier generation. When you dehydrate fruit and vegetables, you don't lose all of the health quality that you get from consuming them. You can have dehydrated fruit and vegetables with a good amount of the vitamins and essential nutrients in them. I personally have a cupboard that is all dehydrated and then put into a baby bullet and busted into powder. It's all dehydrated, healthy ingredients, busted to powder that I can then sprinkle into my food and make sure that those particular essential nutrients are in my food no matter what I'm eating. And what I mean by that is, if on one day I make pasta sauce, well, I can sprinkle some kelp and some chia and some flaxseed into my pasta sauce with whatever else I would normally put in it. And that puts those things into my body without it having anything to do with my tongue or how it tastes, and everything to do with what that food's going to do when it gets in my stomach. Your stomach doesn't care about your tongue, and your tongue doesn't care about your stomach, but they're both connected to your brain. I prioritize my stomach, but it was very difficult to walk away from prioritizing my tongue. Prioritizing my stomach means I am strictly eating for vitamin and minerals to connect my own enzymes naturally and develop my own nutrients in that way. And when you eat to prioritize your tongue, as I have, of course, I had to have had all of those addictions in order to kick all of those addictions. I ate strictly from my tongue. I did not think about my stomach. Currently, very openly, honestly, I can make whatever I'm eating taste the way I want, with sauces and cheeses, mostly. Different fruits, different vegetables, different yogurts. But absolutely everything I do put in is serving a purpose for my stomach. And what that means is that is for nature's requirements for my vessel. It still tastes okay, so my tongue is happy. But my tongue is not my priority when it comes to my food. that is a perspective that I've developed from ridding my body of the sugar addiction. So I need to move on from that because I have a lot to say. Since I have been and had been living with these busted ingredients and this mindset and everything that's been going for me in reference to my expansion on human health, I wanted to do a minor but useful study with other humans. And as a small digression, I have had opportunity to feed other people the way I would eat and under different circumstances. And I have had a lot of people take on this eating mindset over the years. No one has been able to maintain the strict dedication to nature's requirements as I have for the length of time as I have, but they all learned and developed a better perspective for themselves in their own customized way by applying the mindset to the things they do eat and making better choices for themselves. So I wanted to do a more broad experiment, and what I decided to do was, with my knowledge of vitamin, mineral equaling enzyme, and the products that I had a lot of confidence in due to my own true life practices, I decided I was going to make capsules and only put some of these busted healthy ingredients into them. I still have a bag here of capsules that I did not use, but this is not my first bag by any stretch of the imagination. But this is what I have left from the capsules that I was filling. I was taking these capsules and I was going to put ingredients in them. Now, it didn't matter to me who the person was in reference to the initial plan as to what I would put in them, because I understand we all need the same vitamins and minerals, and they activate to create the same enzymes. It doesn't matter what your position is on the planet. If you're a human, that's what's happening inside of your body. So I knew that. However, peanuts don't hurt me, and they do hurt others. So I did still need to progress with a great deal of maturity and responsibility to other people's health, which I did. And how I did that was, some of the people that took the capsules were close enough to call them family, and others were complete strangers. So I would talk to them about what it was they did eat briefly to get an idea. And I have a thick consciousness about it, so I didn't need them to go on and on about it. I just needed to get an idea of like what a week would be like for them and what they would include, and make sure of any known allergies. Additionally, if they had any kind of chronic illnesses, like there was one older lady that took the capsules, and she had arthritis and Parkinson's. So, of course, I used all organic and customized the capsule for her. Now, naturally, everybody had some things the same from taking them, and everybody had some different things to say about taking them, and that is the nature of it. I would, of course, consider that person's personal situation they described to me about their week and apply it to their results, honestly and boldly. I didn't have an opinion. That's not how science works. And it was very much so an independent food science study. And to tell you the things that absolutely everybody right across the board told me without knowing what the other person was saying, the top thing and the first thing that everybody mentioned was they had a lot more energy during the day. They didn't feel as sluggish, and they were noticing a perk in their amount of energy they had. That made perfect sense to me because, well, I am the way I am, and my energy, regardless of how peaceful it is, generally can feel fairly aggressive to some people. And I know how energetic I am and why. So that makes perfect sense to me. And they all had that kind of positive boost from that, which makes perfect sense to me because they were putting the things into their body that their body was missing, similar to like a traditional vitamin that you get from a store. However, it was dehydrated, fresh ingredients, busted and put into a capsule. So that's very much so to your stomach, like sprinkling it into your pasta sauce. And your system, again, your stomach doesn't care about your tongue, and your tongue doesn't care about your stomach. Your stomach still needs it. Your tongue doesn't have to taste it, but your stomach still needs it. And by taking this capsule, well, nature was rewarding them by linking some keys into some holes, giving them that little boost. That's nature's reward. But one person did report that it made their tummy a little sick, and very directly, again, peanuts don't hurt me, but they might hurt somebody else. So I, of course, was very thankful that that person told me to take that seriously. And there may have been something in that particular capsule that was bothering their stomach that they would have to remove, that I don't have to, but they still have to. And whatever vitamin or mineral I was trying to get to their body with what was making them sick, well, they still need that, but maybe they shouldn't get it through the particular ingredient I used. And another thought I had about it was, it may have been like a shock to some people's systems that are used to eating all factory foods. And that particular person, I know they are very used to eating factory foods. I know they do include fruits and veggies, but they also told me that they found buying the fruits and veggies less worth their time because a lot of the times it got thrown out. But a strong point I would like to make about that is, well, eat more of it. And when you eat more of it, you'll be healthier and you'll be leaving the junky stuff out. But everybody's free to eat however you want. It's conscious choice. So I have developed this health knowledge, and I would like to help people know exactly what it is they are doing and exactly what it is they're eating. So I take that person's perspective very seriously. Again, they're allowed to eat however they want. Now, Another significant thing that came from the study was one of the individuals that agreed to take the capsule, they had also noticed an energy burst. She was, I think, in her 50s at the time. She also has a B12 issue that she is very seriously addressing. B12 issues are very common modernly, and I do feel like I have a strong understanding as to a source to that issue in reference to my understanding of the functioning of the stomach and the digestion process of the vitamins and the minerals. That individual did feel the energy burst, but didn't feel a lot of other benefits from taking the capsule. And from my perception of it, knowing about the B12 issue could have been significant to that due to my understanding of the B12 issue. Some vitamins and minerals, when they're in your stomach acts as the file transfer, so that when it goes from the physical world state and chewed and goes down, and then it finishes its file transfer and it goes into your body, the body can recognize it in that format and make it useful. B12 needs to be broke down very, very small. It needs to be powdered. The B12 issue, in many ways, from my understanding, is that the B12 is not getting broke down properly. It still passes through, but the body can't recognize it. So that would be why people with B12 issues can pump themselves full of B12 and sometimes still have B12 issues. And what it goes back to is stomach health. If you think about a stick of cinnamon and you're thinking about busting it down to a powder to maybe sprinkle on your toast, well, you're going to want to bust it small, and it's not going to matter. But if you sprinkle it on your toast and there's a couple little pieces, even this little didn't bust down right, you bite into that, and you're going to know. It was only a small piece, but that little piece didn't quite get broke down enough. It can hurt your tooth. I think in many ways with the B12 issue, the B12 may be getting stripped of layers in the stomach. And some of it gets through, but not all of it, because the stomach isn't healthy enough to really break through that B12 and powder it. So it breaks off the layers it can, but again, it doesn't get to the core. And the core is the most important part. So you could see how, in that very grounded, logical perspective about it, that individual wouldn't be getting no B12, but they're not really getting the B12 they need due to their stomach health. So that individual being the main individual that did not receive as many of the same qualities from taking the capsules as a lot of the other people, I had reason to believe that it went back to that specific person's stomach health, which to me could have been identified by the B12 issue. So in that, I'm not sure how well that individual's stomach is breaking down any of the vitamins or minerals, and I don't know how many of those files are being properly transferred for them, which obviously would be a significant factor to the fact that they didn't get the same benefits from taking them. But again, peanuts don't hurt me, they hurt others. So I'm open to different perspectives on it. However, I feel like what I've presented is very logical in its development. Um, so, the elderly lady that I was helping, when everybody else stopped taking them, she kept taking them. Most people took them for 2 months, and I had a paper where people signed that they take them for the 2 months to try it, no obligation. And nobody continued to do it, but after the 2 months, I did try to make a little bit of currency back to supply myself with the means to make them. And I don't think anybody was willing to pay the fee to an independent guy like myself doing what I'm doing. And additionally, going back to the elderly lady, she did feel it was worth it, and I didn't charge her because I was helping her so much, and I understood why. And she was the only one that stuck with it. And I was very happy to have the opportunity to help her. And she said that it was very important for her in her condition that she went for walks. And if you know anything about arthritis or Parkinson's, that is very true. You need to keep those joints moving, and you need to, be comfortable with that. It's going to help you in the long run. And after taking the capsules regularly, she told me she had no problem finding the energy to go for the walks. And she was able to get up out of her chair and do her dishes and walk around and do a little bit of housework. And I remember one day she told me she never thought she'd be so happy to do the housework. That was a really happy moment for me. So it wasn't at all a failure to me. It was a major success, even though people didn't stay with it. I got enough information from the 2 months to increase my confidence in my discoveries and increase my desire to continue with this particular health knowledge that I'm now working very hard to get to the population, to share with the children. Because if the children have this understanding that they need to have their vitamins and their minerals, loosely considering it like the vitamins are like the females and the minerals are like the males. So you need to include both. And if you do, they will activate each other and create your own enzymes, figuratively considering your own enzymes like creating your own babies. And if you do that, your body will trust you, and your mind will trust you, and you will trust you. And that is a life-changing experience when you're putting all the keys in the holes and you're creating your own enzymes in that way without all the factory foods and harmful products. And the biggest issue with the factory foods is dehydration on the inside. Carpal tunnel is dehydration of the joint. Lung cancer is dehydration of the lung in its fundamental. And obviously, lots of issues develop out of that fundamental. But ultimately, it is a dehydration on the inside. All of our organs are susceptible to all the processes that occur during the dehydration process, which bodily and directly is a shrinking and a weakening. The liver can survive at a very decreased size, but not all of your organs share in that. Simply drinking water is the best thing you can do for your body, but does not offer you the proper hydration you need as a creature of nature, because when we are in nature, we get a lot of moisture from our food very directly. Parts of Africa get it through their meat, parts of Canada get it in their veggies, and as long as it's natural food, that moisture is there. It's not addictive, it's not going to cause cancer, and it is going to hydrate your insides. But it is very much so the drinking of water and consuming the products that have the proper moisture in them to remain hydrated on the inside. If you can remain hydrated on the inside, your body will trust you, your mind will remain clear, the electrodes in your brain will be flowing very swiftly and comfortably, the blood will be flowing very swiftly and comfortably through your veins. You won't have to worry about hardly any of the issues associated with circulatory health. And if you take care of your circulatory health, you're taking care of your electrode health, I guess, as a phrase. And if you take care of your electrode health, you're also taking care of your circulatory health. And one of my biggest concerns with the Western diet is the dehydration on the inside and the compulsiveness of the tongue-brain relationship in reference to the sugar addiction for all of the children. Because again, it doesn't matter what your position is on the planet. If you're a human, that's nature's requirements of you. And something to keep in mind, to reference back to some of the discussion I just had before I go, in reference to the deep fry, oil and water don't mix. And it's well in my understanding that the material in which you use to do the deep frying is very important. There are oils that just don't mix with your stomach acid, and even the ones that are okay to put in, you still don't want to allow that to happen too often, because that grease can build up if it's too frequently. If it's very frequently and your stomach always has that oil present, the oil is very much so getting in the way of your stomach acid doing its job, in a similar way that if you stir a glass with oil and water in it, you're going to still see them separated. If you reference back to the discussion about the B12 and how it can go in and not be properly digested, which could also then, of course, be linked to other vitamins and minerals in reference to stomach health, the individual that I knew that had the B12 issue was including a lot of deep fry in their diet, and I have reason to believe that it could be affecting their stomach health. And I think very, very logically you could understand that. So some people want to know, can we eat it or can we not? Well, we can eat whatever we want in reference to that. But it really needs to be considered once in a while, more so than how unbelievably daily and frequent it is now. It is extremely, extremely accepted. And you have to consider that it's not that it's a matter of not eating it. It's about not eating it nearly as much because you want to take care of your own stomach, because your stomach is your file transferer. And if your file transferer can't put your files in the proper format, you have a misguided concept of your own degree of health. Thank you all again very much for your time and interest in my life's work. Thank you again for learning and respecting the English language, allowing me to share my insights with a broader spectrum of the planet, and also allowing us to continue to connect the world peacefully with English. I am going to make a numbers discussion this morning. It's going to be very bold, honest. If you feel I'm stepping out of line, please pay mind to my tone of voice, as I am trying to speak up peacefully for the sake of all of the global offsets that we have occurring at this time, so we can remain peaceful amongst ourselves, develop a modern understanding, continue to breathe, and continue to live in a more united, peaceful, developed world than we could have ever perceived prior to COVID. Thank you for your maturity in accepting my information. I plan to be back again today with the numbers talk. In the meantime, eat good, remain optimistic, be thankful for your life, and create a great day for yourself. Peace and love to all of God's children, regardless of status, age, gender, geography, or mother tongue. In God we trust. Thank God again. Bye for now.